Welcome to the show, Adria.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you get people asking you if Adrian or Adrian without like
Yeah,
you say it wrong?
that's like the story of my life. I mean,
Oh my
spent 6 years in the U.S. and no one could pronounce my name right. So no
Everyone
worries.
kept saying, Adrian, you mean Adrian?
Yeah, that's basically
That'd
it.
be the most frustrating thing when you tell someone your name and they're like, "Don't you mean?" and they give you a different name.
Exactly. It's like I don't know my own name,
Yeah, yeah, that is funny. Well, welcome to the show, man. You're a heck of a player, and heard a lot about you. Unfortunately haven't got to meet you in person, but I'm happy to meet you today.
Yeah, same here.
Sam here, brother. Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Obviously, you've had a lot of success in the ELF so far. You've been an all-star every single year, 3-time ELF all-star. I think one of only a couple players to have achieved that. And you've got a really interesting journey in the ELF, man, because you have played for a different franchise each year. So just for the audience, let me run through it. You played for the Sea Devils in 2021, the Vienna Vikings in 2022, the Paris Musketeers in 2023, and this year you're headed east to the Wrocław Panthers in Poland. Got a bunch of questions for you. I think the first one I'd like to ask is, after 2022, when you guys won the ELF championship in Vienna, why did you want to leave the franchise? Did it not feel like a place that you wanted to stay and continue to build, especially after winning this championship on this first year?
Well, that was about the time where they changed the regulations for imports, right?
Yeah.
So like I had to sit down with the franchise and we kind of came to a mutual agreement where, well, it was not the best option for the franchise to keep like a European tight end.
Right.
I mean, they had Big Bomber there. So, I mean, they were served on with the homegrown. So it came down to what was best for me, what was best for the franchise, and I had this amazing opportunity coming to Paris, and I took it.
Yeah. Silas, go ahead if you had some.
No, it's very simple and makes sense, and Vienna. That the chances of having two tight ends of y'all's caliber is so. It's just so slim in Europe, and that's a very interesting situation. But I mean, you obviously got to go play for another really cool organization, and now you're just a world traveler. You're getting to go to play in all these different countries. Has that been talk to us a little bit about how cool it is to play in different countries?
It's amazing, man. Like I got to say, it was never my plan. I had a bunch of people always asking me, it's like, oh, are you just trying to play somewhere else every single year? And that was never a thing. I was actually looking for some stability, but kind of life pushed me into that direction. It's like any other job or just life in general, like sometimes opportunities come your way and you have to bet on yourself. And I would say like it's been pretty good so far on my end, but I would say, like the best thing about this ELF thing for me has been like the possibility of just living all over Europe, being part of these amazing organizations, like the people I met. I mean, I would say that's something that I couldn't have achieved in any other way. Like it's not in a regular job, you cannot just move to some crazy location every 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's been a very interesting and very rewarding experience.
Hey, man, we'll talk about the Panthers and the future in a second, but I want to go back again to the past, to last year where you were part of the Paris Musketeers. This is obviously a first-year franchise. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that was to be a part of a team that was building something from scratch? What was that experience like?
It was tough, man. Like there was a lot of ups and downs, like there was a lot of good things. There was a lot of bad things. I would say that in my experience, like the franchise did a really, really good job as an organization to like kickstart something like that. But yeah, like obviously the season ended up 6-6. It was not the result we wanted. It got frustrating at times, especially in the beginning when we like rack up a few losses in a row. But looking at it with a bit of perspective, I still look at last year as something very, very positive, and I feel that built the foundation of what the Musketeers are going to be this year, which seems to be a very, very competitive team.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, and you guys really came out with probably one of the more difficult schedules in the ELF last year. I think you played Frankfurt, you played the Surge, you played the Rhine Fire, and for a first-year organization, have to come out against these teams is tough. But I was pretty impressed with you guys by the end of the season, for sure, man. And then moving to this year, to the Panthers. Why was this the right place for you to go play in 2024? How did this connection happen?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest, like my intentions were to stay in Paris, like if you ask me like September 2023, the season's just over, like I was thinking I was going to stay, but Panthers reached out to me, talked to Coach C, talked to Coach Landa or OC, and we started getting into those conversations, and it just like the mentality, what they were trying to build, everything felt like the right fit, and what I was saying before, right? Sometimes you have to make decisions or take bets. I feel like for me, coming to the Panthers was betting on myself and betting on an organization that's trying to accomplish something that they haven't done before. And I feel we're on the right path to do that.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm wondering, did Paris try to keep you?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Nice. Of course they did. There we go. Of course they did.
Have you been to? Okay. How do you? First off, let's start with this. How do you pronounce the city that you're moving to?
I heard it in so many different ways. So like in English, I heard Wroclaw, like Germans call it Breslav.
Breslav?
Polish, I think.
What?
Like it's.
This is the most like this is to me has been the biggest controversy of the entire season so far, or preseason, is how the heck do you pronounce the name of the team from the East? So because every single time Nick introduces your team, I'm like, are you even sure it's right?
He's just saying it different every single time too, man.
Roslaw, Coleslaw, Planters.
Wroclaw. I mean, I need to work on that. That's that's not.
You probably should figure that out. Are you there yet? Have you been there yet?
No, I'm actually in Vienna. Funny enough, like I moved my whole personal life to Vienna in the 2022 season. So I live in Vienna, play in Wroclaw, play in Paris, but in the other I'm in Vienna.
Okay. So, hey, what's sort of the vibe and the energy with the Panthers this year? I mean, you guys have had kind of a crazy offseason with the roster that you guys are putting together. You obviously a huge piece of that. Can you talk to me a little bit about the Panthers' expectations? Like, legitimately, do you guys think that you guys will contend for a championship this year?
I mean, that's the plan. I mean, that's probably the easiest question you asked me all night, I mean, I remember one of the first calls I had with Coach C is like they had a good season last year. They made it to playoff, but it was not good enough, right? Like they saw the weaknesses. They saw what they did wrong last year, and they want to jump the gun on that and make sure they got the right guys for every single position that they needed. And I remember he told me literally, like, I'm trying to build like an all-star team. Like I'm trying to get like the best players at every single position that we need. And I think they delivered like a pretty good list of players so far. The goal is clear. Like the Panthers have something to prove. I mean, they lost in the playoffs against Hamburg like the first year. They lost last year too. But it's always been a contender. It's one of the initial franchises, and they're eager to get their hands on that trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have you've got two great running backs, Matt Cole, the receiver, the A receiver, who is lot of NFL experience. And then your quarterback, Steven Duncan, who I got to see him play live in person last year and was wildly impressed with him. And last week, a couple of our guests had him on the list of top quarterbacks to watch out for in the ELF in 2024. Have you had a chance to connect with Duncan yet? And how has that been? And how have you guys started to develop this relationship?
Yeah, we've been able to talk, chat over IG and all that stuff, and kind of just sharing like our vision for the season. But I'm excited to play with him. Like, he did some serious damage in the GFL last year, and I feel like it's going to be more of the same this year, especially because I think like he has even more weapons than he had last year in GFL. So I'm kind of excited to get to camp and get to work on that connection and get it rolling.
Absolutely, man. I mean, he's legit, and I think you guys will have a great connection. The chat is talking a little bit. Athletes Forum, Jamal says there's a team in the Alps that needs a tight end. Just saying. So is there any possibility if you win a championship in Poland that you'll head south for a nice, beautiful season in Silas's old stomping ground?
Is that what he was referring to? Because
that's what he's referring to.
There's like, the Alps extend to like 4 different countries, right? So like that could be Italy, that could be Austria, it could be Switzerland, Germany. Jamal, what are you talking about here?
He's always pushing the guards. He's always pushing for the guards.
Someone else said, remember me, I recruited you to the Kempton Comets. Do you know Axel Eder?
Yes, I do.
Axel Eder.
So what ended up happening? Did you not go to the Comets?
Yeah, that was my actual first season in Europe after college. Like, I played one season.
What year was that?
2019.
Okay.
We all played each other, man. I think we all played each other.
I didn't. I was in Italy playing with the Wilfie. Did you play him?
Yeah, we must have played. If you were playing Algoy in 2019, then we played each other for sure, man. I probably missed a couple tackles on you. Maxie, don't pull up the tape. Don't pull it up.
Just start pulling up more tape of now fails.
Just me missing tackles. Hey, what is there a game on? I know every single game, hey, we're trying to win week by week. Is there a specific game or team that you've really got your eyes on that you're excited to play this year in 2024?
Okay, well, first of all, I would say like the first game of the season against Berlin, I think that's going to be a very special one. We play like in the big stadium, like in the big Tarzinski Stadium on June 26th. And I mean, we're working hard to like get everybody to that stadium. Like, it's not too far from Germany. It's not too far from like other cities in Poland. So we're really trying to pack that thing, because I feel it's a really good game to start the season, right? Like, Berlin has a good, solid like roster like every single year, and that's going to be a true test for us. So that's obviously the first game of the season is always special, and obviously playing against like my former team, it's always special too, right? I mean, for me, playing in Vienna, it's going to be a home game. I live here. My girl's here, like, I established my life here. So like, it's going to be like something I'm looking forward to.
Is there any, I don't want to say bad blood, but extra motivation in playing Vienna? Like, obviously, hey, they had their homegrown tight ends and they let you go. Is there any extra like motivation and juice for the Vienna game?
Of course. I mean, I'm a competitor. I want to prove that, they did the bad decision letting me go, but
There we go. That's what we like to hear. A real competitor, a real, hey man, that brings me to my next point. How would you describe your game? How you play the game of football? What do you think are your biggest strengths as a tight end? What you bring to the field?
Versatility. Like, I consider myself like a receiving type, like some people say out there that I don't like to block and all that stuff. I just feel like I'm more like a, receiving threat. Like, I feel like really, really good at running routes, and I'm really good at reading defenses. And I feel that's one of my biggest strengths, but also can play different positions. You know, like some teams use me like as an X receiver. Some other teams, I mean, in Vienna, they use me as a running back a couple times, you know, and I feel like one of my biggest strengths is you can just move me around and I can make a direct impact on wherever you put me. So
is there anyone on your sorry, Nick.
Go ahead. Sorry. No, my bad.
Is there anyone on your team that you're really, really looking forward to playing with?
AJ Wendland, you know, like in 2020, that was COVID season, right? Like GFL and everything got canceled. That's the year I signed with Dresden, and we were supposed to be teammates, right? And I mean, he is probably the best linebacker that has played in Europe in the last 10 years, right? So like the chance of playing with him and practicing with him, like, you know, iron sharpens iron, right? Like if I'm able to go against him every single practice, like I should show up to game day and it should be way easier than practice. So I'm looking forward to play with him. Like also Keanu Ebanks, he's one of my closest friends. So like being able to play with him one more year, that's always exciting. So I'm excited about this year. I think it's going to be a special one.
I love it, man.
Oh yeah, AJ, absolute baller. And like we talked about earlier, one of only 3 American linebackers in the league. So like very impressive for him to continue to one of the top level linebackers in the league year in, year out. I don't know if you can answer this yet because you haven't been out there to Poland yet, but we're hearing so many good things just about the infrastructure, the organization of the Panthers, kind of the behind the scenes and how things are run out there. Do you know much about that yet? And can you talk a little bit about the Panthers just as an organization? Have you had any experience with that?
Actually, I was there for like a weekend and kind of just to visit the city, to see if that's where I want to be and kind of just meet everybody in person. And yes to everything, you know, like it's the most professional organization I've seen since I've been in the US. The way they run things, like the facilities, the game prep, like what they provide to their players, everything is top notch. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing to have something like that in Europe.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I just keep everyone that's had any interaction with the Panthers. I remember I spoke with AJ about it after he left Leipzig, and had his first few weeks there, and was just wildly impressed with the way that everything is run there. And you guys have got a great stadium, and like you said, you got the season opener against Berlin in the big stadium, which will be a great way to start the season for you guys. Silas, you got anything else?
No, man. I'm when they signed you, that was the first time I really thought of, man, there is actually something happening with the Panthers. I think the Panthers are my new sleeping giant. I think we had a sleeper pick. I don't remember what my sleeper pick was, but my new sleeper pick is the Panthers.
I like that, man. I'm with you.
They're going to come out of nowhere, kind of like the sleeping giant in the East there. So, and this conversation kind of reinforced that.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, honestly, I like that people kind of underestimate us. I like to be in an underdog position, you know, and like obviously we have a good group of imports, but like they sleep on the homegrown talent. Like those Polish guys can play and they're tough as nails. So I'm excited to kind of just get the season started so the world can see what the Panthers are all about.
I love it, man.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for coming to the show. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Stuck on a delay here.
Go ahead, Nick. You've interrupted me like 5 times.